Dear Sir, well, that was quite the year. LOL. If this year were a restaurant, I'd be saying, check please, before the appetizers even showed up. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but in all seriousness, I should be grateful for the year I had. Finally got my driver's license at 36 years old. Then, I drove the family on a cross country road trip to Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. The wife and I spent every last penny we had to fund this trip, but it was certainly worth it. You can't take it with you when you die, they say. I was reminded of this when I almost suffered cardiac arrest on the Jolly Rancher Remix coaster our first day there. Luckily, two lovely park EMTs were able to resuscitate me on the spot, and I was back in business to rejoin the fam at the chocolate-covered parade. Which was amazing. Until, of course, I slipped on a patch of wet pavement during the Mrs. Reese's dance number, and suffered a subdural hematoma from the impact. Or so they thought. Turns out my brain wasn't actually bleeding. Does Happy Dance? Oh, and did I tell you we sold the house because we couldn't afford the mortgage due to our trip? Yep. Van life, baby! Everyone scoffed at the idea that a family of 5 plus 3 dogs could live comfortably in a van, but now I wouldn't live any other way. Besides, it's just temporary. At least until I'm able to start making money here as a video game designer for a major gaming studio. Just before we bought the van, Deb's father gave us a few grand to help us get going so we wouldn't use up all our money. And I was able to use that to pay for my intro classes at GCC. Now, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest computer expert, so it's been a bit of a challenge learning the whole keyboard and mouse deal, but the professor says I'm right on track and should definitely register for level 2. I told him that I would as soon as we get the settlement funds from Hershey Park. I would ask Deb's dad again for help, but when we told him what we spent the money on last time, he tried to lead me on this fake elaborate scavenger hunt that, well, if I continued, would have found myself in an international high security prison, most likely tortured and left to die on a cold cell floor with little to no hope of ever seeing my family again. Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass for me on that one. Alright. I think I've blabbed on quite enough here. This year wasn't the best one of my life, but certainly not the worst either. 2012, anyone? Kidding. But at the end of the day, I still have hope, because I know that my president, my commander-in-chief, is on the front lines fighting for me to have a better life. And that's more than enough to get me a good night's sleep, even with the vertical standing bed I have to sleep in so that we can all fit in the van at night. Here's to the US of A, and here's to you, sir. Cheers.